Meet 24-year-old Clinton Samuels, an upholster and joiner by profession. Clinton, thank you very much for speaking with us today. Upholstery is something that you went to a technical school to learn?
Well, the funny story about this story, about my story, is that when I came out of school, my father used to operate a drudge in the bush. So I went, to learn, because every August holiday in Farm 4 or 5, Farm 3, Farm 4, I would go on a holiday and, look on and see how the drudge work does go. So when I finished school, I went into the bush and spent 6 months. I was like, man, I want to stay all the time. I want to spend all of my time in the bush. So when I came home, my mom actually tricked me to go and learn upholstery, right? So the guy that was doing the work had our breakfast chair. So mommy said, man, let me go and you can just help me sand the chair so you could come back early before Christmas. So I was like, all right, man, I ain't mind. I home, I ain't doing anything. So I went, and when we reached at the workshop, mommy was like, so this is my son that I brought to work. And I was confused because I know I come in to work on the breakfast chairs, sand them and help them to come home more faster. Anyway, we started. My thought was, well, when I finish sanding this breakfast chair, I'm going home. But after like a week, 2 weeks after, I started falling in love with the staple guns, and you're just stapling, and I thought it was easy, right? After 3 months, I had a liking for the work. After a year, I fell in love with the work. Now, I worked there for 3 years. We used to supply courts with sofas and so on. And I really enjoyed seeing a smile on customers' face when you deliver a chair and there's like, oh gosh, look how my chair look real nice. And I was like, I want to fall in that field. So from there I started working. I worked at my teacher for 3 years, Mr. George Gray. And after the 3 years, I branched off on my own. So when I started, my sister, Esther Samuels, was launching her salon. And she was like, Clinton, I want you to build this chair for me. I said, I never learned to build chair. I learned to cover, right? She was like, all right, I'm gonna let my husband build the chair and you're gonna cover it. I said, all right. But he was a little busy because he's a goldsmith. So he was a little busy. And when the time started winding down, she came to me, Clinton, my salon launching in the next 2 weeks and need these stuff. And I think no brother want to see the sister crying or giving them the sympathy voice. So I said, all right, man, I can try a thing. So I went, I bought the wood. She imported the fabric. I bought the wood, the sponge, and so on. So from what I saw, right, from the chairs that I was working on, I had an idea, but maybe the mind was a little lazy. So I had an idea, so I started working on the sofa. Finished building the sofa in 1 day. I had a little hiccup and so on, being that it was the first time. Started with hammer and nail and a screw gun and some screws. So I built the chair. And when I finished, the chair was on this same exact table, and this table was there. So I finished the chair and I looked at it and I was like, I know how to build a chair? I doing what I know or know what I'm doing? So anyway, so the story I proceed to cover the chair. When I finished covering the chairs and everything, I was surprised that I was doubting myself. Never learned to build a chair, and I was telling myself I didn't know. And that's how most youths are today. we see things and we don't know for sure if we could do it, and we never give it a try. So if I didn't give that chair a trial with the little push that my sister gave to me back then, maybe I wouldn't be here today. So from my mom tricking me to me being here, having my own workspace, my own workshop, was a blessing in disguise, because nobody likes to be tricked. So I give thanks to my mother for tricking me to go and learn upholstery, and I thank Mr. George Gray to having a lot of patience and giving me time to grow in the workshop, and also my sister to helping me and giving me the push and the encouragement to start building that chair. So when I was finished, I started telling myself that there's nothing that I can't do, because if I thought that I couldn't do this simple thing, and I did it in one day with a little hiccup, what else can't I do? So I started hammer and nail. She started posting my chairs. Customers started coming in the salon and it's like, who did your stuff? Where did you buy it from? Quartz? A lucky dollar? Like, no, my brother built it for me. So I had my first customer, official customer, that I had to build a chair for. And I was excited. When I finished building the chair and everything, it came out so well. She posted it, and from there, I was just working on recommendation from other customers and the work that my sister put out and posted on social media. So that is how it was started, and here I am now.
How long ago is it that your mother took you to the joiner?
It was 6 years ago. I remember 6 years, 1 month. I remember it because September is my birth month. And when I came home, it was August. I was turning 18, and they really wanted me to come home also. And they took me to Public Works, but I wasn't 18, right? So at that time, they had the cleaning up campaign and so on. I was like, man, how bad it could be, you know? But they said that I wasn't old enough to start. So that's when my mom took me, September the 7th, right? That's when she took me to the workshop, and I started there. It was 6 years, 1 month ago.
How would you describe this journey over those 6 years?
It was really tough. Did a lot of prayer, and it was really tough, hard. It was challenging. It was an adventure all around, right? It was an adventure. So I started, after I finished the first year, I started thinking, there's nothing that I can't do, it wasn't so tough anymore. It became an adventure for me, because every new challenge, I wanted to conquer it. So everything that came to me, I was like, okay, I'm going to seek some experience if I don't know something. I had friends at the workshop, how to do this, and they would give me an insight, and then I would go and do it. It didn't come out as how it's supposed to, but then I would ask them to come over and help me get it finished as how it's supposed to finish, right? So it was an upside down, all over adventure for me.
As a young person operating and managing your own business, how difficult has that been?
Well, it's been a little challenging, but I would go to my sister because she has a business, and by she started before me, she can help me out and show me the P's and Q's, how to go about managing a business, how to use your time wisely. Time is a very important thing. Now, if you decide that you're going to wake up today and because you're working with yourself, you're going to start at 12 o'clock and maybe stop at 5, I don't think that will work for you. If you're now starting out as a young business person, now you need to get up at 8, just like how when you would go to someone else's job, maybe even at 6, and finish sometime till at 12 o'clock in the night. So the hours really is not a 9 to 5 job. When you want to start and build a business, sometimes it's a 24-hour job. Because when you finish working, you have to go, all right, book work. Let me see what I have to do tomorrow. By this time, I have to finish this. By this time, I have to start this. And sometimes it's not always as you plan. So that's why sometimes you go till 10 o'clock working in the night, till 11 o'clock. I apologize to my neighbors, but they understand, right? They understand the journey from when I started. They haven't complained since. They just encourage me, keep pushing. You're gonna be somewhere you're gonna be somebody great in the near future. And so I asked them if the noise don't affect them. They're like, no, we know you're a young person aiming for something high. You're not in the streets 10 o'clock smoking weed or thieving or just walking the road roaming. You just sit and you do your work, and this is more important to me as a young person than the noise you're making. So I really appreciate that from neighbors.
You talk about the support from your community. You have in turn provided employment for some of the young men in this very area. How has that been?
Well, when I started, it wasn't much. So the youths around the area would come and, Clinton, give me a little work. And I was thinking to myself, how I can give you all work? I know starting out, I know trying to build something, and I don't want to be unfair to no one. I don't want to, take you on and you're a youth and then discourage you by saying, man, don't come today, come tomorrow, come next week. And maybe you need the money for school, you want to come in after school and do some work, So I created a structure whereby if today one of you come and learn something, I look and see who's paying attention and I provide you with work. You come, you strip down the chairs, you learn how to use the staple gun, you learn how to use the drill gun, try not to damage it, give them advice so they wouldn't mess up. And I also encourage them that school is very important. You need to finish strong, and it doesn't matter where you start. Sometimes you come in here after school and then your friends telling you, man, you're going to work? Let me go online, let me go and do this, let me go and do that. But you need to find in yourself what is important to you. And I wouldn't force them to, come and, you have to work. It's something that you need to do. I don't know what you have in your mind, what your future would be. But the only thing I could do is advise them to, come in, learn something, just as I learned. Just as my teacher had the patience to teach me, I will do the same in return for somebody else's child. Come in, learn, and I will have the patience to teach them something.
The Christmas holiday is coming up. What sort of jobs have persons been bringing to you?
Well, mostly sofas. Most people want to remodel their chairs after having it for like 10 to 15 years. I encourage customer to remodel, right? To change the style of the chairs, maybe into a L shape, maybe change the arm of the chair, get thicker cushion, change the back, change the look, maybe add some buttons in the chair, you know. So most jobs or most work that has been coming in is sofas, dining chairs, dining tables, and so on.
How difficult is it for you to remodel a probably 122 or 321 to an L shape or so on?
Well, depending on the condition of the chairs, it's a little bit challenging because sometimes chairs come in and it has spring. Now spring flex the cushion, it wore out the cushions, right? So it's better sometimes to use wood to have a stable platform so the cushions wouldn't flex. Now if you have springs, you need a thicker cushion. Now everything you have to explain to customers to let them know. Now to remodel a 321 or a 211 into a L shape, sometimes you need to build a whole new chair, right? Some customers think it's just, just add on a piece and add on a piece there. But really and truly, sometimes you need to build over the entire chair because some manufacturers build the chair and now the chairs get wet, the ply swell, some wood is broken, and you need to sometimes just take some parts of it and then just build the entire chair over. So sometimes it's a little bit difficult.
I know that some joiners would have, left a bad taste in customers' mouth. So a lot of them would have, instead of building something, they just go to one of the department stores and just buy a whole new one. Right? How are you in terms of managing your time to meet that deadline that you have given your customers?
Well, sometimes it's a little bit hard. That's why I explained that when owning a business and now upcoming, you have to be very on time. Now, if I choose to take on 6 chair sets to finish within a month, my time is not 9 to 5. Sometimes it's 6 or 7 o'clock, all the way up to 12 o'clock, just to meet that customer's deadline. Now, if I will be 1 day or 2 days late, I will call the customer before and explain to them that the chairs would be a little late, right? No more than 2 days. Now, sometimes there's some unforeseen circumstances that you can't really deal with. Then there's blackout. Sometimes a tool might stop working. So it's good to call the customer before time and tell them that you will be a little bit late and just deliver within the deadline. Give them approximate time that you would deliver. If you know that you can finish this chair within 4 to 5 days, tell them 7 to 8 days. So you have 2 days to, if you have any hiccups, to still deliver the chair within the deadline. Right? If not, call the customer and let them know you would be a little bit late. Customers appreciate calling them, keeping in contact with them. Even if you're late, don't just try to keep pushing out the work and tell them, I didn't want to call you because I know you can get vexed. Call them and explain to them and deliver a good product.
Where have people been getting most of their ideas in terms of either building a new set or remodeling a set first?
Well, most people that come to me, the first remodeling I did was for my mom, because when she was working, she would come home and just lay in the three-seater. Now, the three-seater that we make, it's not that long. So when you lay down, sometimes your foot is all the way up on the arm. So I said that, man, I want to remodel this chair. I don't know how, but I want to turn it into an L shape. So we had a three-seater and two one-seater. So I took off the arm and add the one-seater to the end and extended it out. And I started encouraging customers to do the same thing. So after that, I started posting it, and my sister was posting it. And customers started approaching me for the same L-shaped chair. Or sometimes they would go on Pinterest or on Google and browse some chair sets and bring it forward to me and, can you do this? Yeah. And we would start working on it.
What would your advice be to young people looking to start their own businesses?
Don't chase someone else's dreams, because you will be missing out on your own adventure. Sometimes you see someone doing something, and yes, you want to follow in their footsteps, but everybody is different. Don't envy nobody when you're coming up. Don't try to belittle anybody when coming up. Try to focus on what you can do and try to figure out who you are as a person. So when you start, you wouldn't be looking at this person, man, this person doing this thing, so I need to do it this way. No, you figure out how you could be different. Chasing someone else's dreams would be hard. You would have to be just like them. And most times, you wouldn't be giving people you. You would be giving them maybe 40% and hiding away the other 60%. So if you can't be 100% you, at least be 90 and try to work and get that 10 when coming up. Always be punctual, always be respectful, always be mannerly. It takes you a very far way. So my advice would just to be you and be respectful.
Where do you see your business in another 5 to 10 years?
Well, I'm aiming to not only supply customers in Guyana, but hit the worldwide market with my new vision of a chair, to bring it forth and to show myself to the world. So I'm looking to start exporting chairs and just hitting the worldwide market instead of being local and thinking to supply Guyanese alone.
What are some of the other items you make in your workshop?
Well, we make tables, breakfast chairs, built-in closets, cupboards, everything for household furnishing.